G'day, my name's Chris. Welcome back to the shed. Welcome to Flat Tank Friday. Nothing better than having a beer box in front of you. No beer in it, which is kind of a shame, but more importantly than beer in it is my Douglas barrels, pistons, rings, bored, gapped, everything's ready to go. For those watching from another country, and I know there's a couple of blokes watching from the UK, this is half a box of Melbourne Bitter Stubbies. So nothing better than getting stuff delivered in a beer box. Shows your engine builder's a good man. He needs a couple of beers to get the job done. So we'll get everything out, throw the beer box aside and you can have a look. 62mm barrel, had it bored, blind bored. Piston, got a little bit of wear but got brand new rings. Bought them from JP Pistons in South Australia and they made them to size. That's pretty cool. This is a 61mm barrel, had the piston, just got the rings made to size and that suited pretty fine. I think some of you may have seen the barrels before. The barrels aren't pristine, got some broken fins. I had them blasted, little bug sitting in there. I had them blasted and then I just gave them a quick paint to stop them flash rusting. They've got new valves in them. The valves have been seated, a new seat's cut. They've got new springs and the ends of the valves have been faced off and they're ready to go. Same on the other side, everything's good. I just happen to have the spark plug and the other plug screwed into that one. Not really sure why I did, but I do. And it's ready to go too. Overall, as I say, the barrels aren't pristine. A few broken fins, a few things damaged, but I think for my purposes, they're alright for now. Engine builder can repair the fins and will sit down and braze on new fins, but I think at this point in the restoration, I'm pretty happy to go with it the way it is. I'm going to bring it in and give you a bit of a close-up on these, and you'll be able to see the brakes and the fins and see where it's been bored out, hopefully, and we can push on from there. I'll bring you in. Alright, straight into it. Piston, new rings, look great. Piston's got a little bit of wear on it, but it looks fine. No scoring, no marks. Rings are good. I think they've got 8 thou end gap in them, maybe 9. I think that's what Les told me. You might be able to look down inside the barrel, see it's been bored out. Blind bore, a guy about half an hour away from you did it. Set up a jig and blind bored it out. I gather it's not the simplest job in the world. As far as I can tell, he's done a good job and I'm pretty happy with it. Turned over. You're looking at the new valves, new springs and everything there. You can see some fins chipped off here. So there's a couple of broken fins here. And the way I'm handling it, there could be more. Another broken one here. Just going to spin it round for you. Broken fin, good chunk off there. Big chunk off here. Another chunk off there. Another one missing here. Mind you, these are, 90 something years old. Not easy to come by. I was lucky I could procure a full pair out of the ones I had. I'm just going to lay him over so he doesn't fall any further. And let's have a look at the other one. So this one's just had a clean up inside. No real marks on the bores. It looks alright. Little bit of surface rust sitting on the top of the head there. A few more broken fins. Couple of broken ones there. Broken one on the top. Couple, 3. And then a couple of rippers over here where they're broken out. I'm not losing sleep over it. Once you start chasing these things and looking for barrels that are perfect, you just can't find them. I may go back later and have them repaired, but I'm more than likely not to. I'm more than likely just to get this thing going, ride it and enjoy it. Here's the piston out of the unbored barrel. Got a little mark in the top. Actually looks like it's been dropped. Piston looks okay. New rings, clean enough inside. Probably all need a good wipe before they go back into the bike, but everything should be fine. I'm going to lay out some stuff on the bench, the gudgeon pins, and see if I can create myself a bit of workspace. And we might push on and see if I can get the pistons and the gudgeon pins onto the conrods. Alright, in the spirit of bringing you along for the ride, front piston installed. Gonna have to take the engine out, I think, to get the barrel on. And maybe you're meant to work on them out of the bike, not really sure. Not hard to get it out. I've come across an interesting anomaly on the rear cylinder, and that is gudgeon pin fits in the conrod, no problem at all. Gudgeon pin does not fit in the piston, and not by just a little bit, like 0.3 of a millimetre. So, 0.3 of a mil is a fair bit, and too much to force. The hole in the piston where the gudgeon pin goes measures about 9.57, and the gudgeon pin is 9.89, so it's about 0.3, 0.32 of a mil. It will start just where the brass button is on the gudgeon pin, but I'm loath to beat the holy living daylights out of it to get it down any further. So I'm gonna call the end of the rear piston until I get some technical advice, but I'm gonna lob the motor out of the frame and continue on with the front cylinder because I'm still a bit excited. I'm not sure whether the rear cylinder is a remount of the piston hole until we get the desired tolerance, or whether it's a drill out and not worry about it and it's all good. I have got a drill bit that's the right size, but I'm not going to just hack at that. So I'm going to get some technical advice over the rear cylinder. But I'm going to push on with the front cylinder. All's well. Okay, quick view before I take the motor out. There's the rear engine mount bracket. Bolts through from the other side. In here you can see the front one still in place. Bolts just hitting on the gear change mechanism. I've taken the chain off the drive. I've undone the oil pipe. I'm hoping the whole motor will just roll backwards towards the camera and come out, and then we'll have a look at it on the bench. Alright, engine's out of the frame. Come up well. Can see how it goes in, nice and easy. Let's go and have a look at the engine on the bench with the front barrel. Well, this is actually working out quite well. Not good that the gudgeon pin doesn't fit, but good that we get the engine out of the bike and get up on the bench where we can have a closer look at it. Well, maybe good for you, not good for me. There we go. That's the front piston. It went in relatively simply. The gudgeon pin went in with the gentlest of taps. You can get a closer look at it. Here's the double stamped year date. Now it says 26, but the engine numbers indicate it can't be 26. I'm almost positive that's a replacement part, not original to the engine. That the engine might have been built up from a series of components. Is the engine number really clearly stamped early in the 64,000s, which means it's 1924. Here's the rear cylinder, where the rear cylinder will go. Here's the gudgeon pin, moves ever so slightly, probably moves slightly freer than the other one. The other one can be turned, so, does the piston move on the pin or the pin move in the conrod? I think it's the latter. Anyway, technical advice required. Just while we're here, we can come up and see the magneto. My understanding is the magneto's all been rebuilt, and the magneto's been re-nickeled, blasted, and has new leads and everything. Okay, here's the barrel, and it's on the engine. It's attempt number 3 or 4 to put it on correctly. Douglas are a bit weird. They'll let you adjust the barrel on the mounting bolts, I'll show you on the other side. These mounting bolts will move on a fair way. Maybe it's half the width of the bolt, maybe it's 3 or 4 mil. So you can pull the barrel one way or another, kind of in a rotation. So I've had a couple of goes, and I can get the bottom valve, the exhaust valve, relatively in the centre of the lifter. I'm having a bit of trouble with the top. Can't quite get it in the centre. It's just annoying me a little bit. So just going to sit back down. So as you tighten it up, it pulls away. It's maybe 3 or 4 mil. Odd. Not really sure how to go about it. Never having assembled a Douglas motor, I don't suppose I should know how to go about it. Gonna have a few more goes at it tonight, and then call it stumps and seek some technical advice. That's the way to go. Hey, it's Thursday evening, and going to call a close to Flat Tank Friday for this week. It's Flat Tank Friday 13, an unlucky 13 or not, hard to say. I'm a bit miffed about the piston. I haven't been able to resolve that today, and the bit you've just watched was last night. But it's okay. I'll admit I was really excited this week. I thought barrels, pistons, rings, everything's going to fall into place, and I'm going to bolt this engine together, and that's going to be my episode for this week. And it was going to be cool, and everything was going to be great. And at one stage I thought, I'm not going to show you this, and I'll find something else to show you and do something else tonight and put together a video. And I've been at work today, and that's why I got the shirt on, and sort of thought, nah, need to actually show you what really goes on in the shed. This is motorbike restoration for me. This sort of stuff happens really regularly. Just when you think you're on top of it and everything's going to go smoothly, something doesn't go smoothly. So you're seeing this virtually in real time. Everything's happening just as you see it. So I don't have time to fix things and make everything look seamless and flawless like other guys do in videos. This is it. This is how it works. Really happy. The front piston is good. The gudgeon pin's good. The rings are good. I've got the barrel off again because I damaged the gasket pulling it on and off, and I need to make a new gasket. So I'm going to do that quietly over the weekend and get the front barrel back on. I will catch up with an engine builder friend of mine and ask him about the gudgeon pin hole, and I fancy it needs reamed out just a little bit, just so it's a press fit and everything's good. And then that should go well. Other than that, you're seeing the successes and the not so successful parts of putting together an old bike, and in this case, putting together something that somebody's already had a go at. It has occurred to me, is that harder or easier? I'm not really sure. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm going to try to put together an episode next week where hopefully everything comes together. But if it doesn't, you'll hear all about it. And then I'm going to have a week off after Christmas and then come back to you in the new year or late this year. Everybody have a great weekend. Catch up with you soon. Cheers.